Who's the girl?
Dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger. You're fulfilling your destiny. Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. And we shall have peace. Oh no, my young Jedi. You will find that it is you who are mistaken about a great many things.
And we are live. What is up, all of you amazing Star Wars fans and nerds and anyone else who's randomly watching, mothers, grandmas, and everyone like that. I am joined by two hardcore Star Wars fans. Both happen to be from the Rebel Scum podcast. Gentlemen, let's introduce ourselves. Andrew, tell the people who you are. What do you do?
Hi, people, especially you, grandmas, because I know you're watching.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew Fantasia, and I am from, like Josh said, I'm from Rebel Scum Podcast, and I love what we're going to be talking about today.
Yep, this guy's a big fan of the Rey Palpatine Theory. We're going over Rey Palpatine today, but James is also here. James, what's going on, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I can't wait to say how bad this theory is to Andrew's face.
I imagine that is the case. So, okay, we are going over the Rey Palpatine Theory. This is the Last Jedi live streams. We're doing this every Thursday as we head towards the Last Jedi. How many weeks we got here, boys?
I don't know. It's not a lot of Thursdays left, though. That's for sure. I think we're at 29 days right now till the movie comes out.
We got like four or five Thursdays left.
4 or 5 Thursdays left. Yep.
Including the last one.
Including the last one, which will be really fun. We'll have to figure out something special for that. I think we're going to go ahead and do Reylo on that episode, which would be cool the day the movie comes out. But yeah, so in this video, we are going over the Rey Palpatine Theory. Now, while I sort of build this audience a little bit, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew, who's a big fan of the theory. Now, Andrew, in a little bit here, we're going to go over the evidence for this thing. But before we even get into the evidence itself, I kind of want to know, why are you such a fan of this theory? So go ahead, take you have the calm, as it were, which is bad because it's a Star Trek reference. But here we go. Let us know, man. What do you like about this theory?
Well, thank you for beaming me up into the calm. Well, there's two main reasons that I love this theory. The first one is a very selfish reason, and it's because I'm biased and I love Emperor Palpatine. He's my favorite character in this whole saga. But the second reason, I promise, is much more cerebral and has nothing to do with my own personal preferences. But it's simply, I'm coming at it from the standpoint of being a writer myself. And if 2 years ago, Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy had put that pen in my hand and said, Andrew, you handsome devil, please write this movie for us. Please write the backstory for Rey. If I have to give her a lineage that ties into stuff we already know, then Palpatine is 100% what I'm going for. And here's why. There are a lot of great things to be said about a Rey Kenobi story or a Rey Skywalker story or whatever. There's lots of great things to be said for those theories. I'm not going to discount them as garbage because there are great things about them. And particularly the Kenobi one has a lot of devout followers backing it up. And as great as it would be for us if she was a Kenobi, because it's like, oh yeah, we get to see Obi-Wan again and we get to hear that story, so that's great for us. It's not great for Rey from a character standpoint, because if I'm Rey and I'm told, hey, this great Jedi, this really cool guy who was a hero and a lot of people like him was your grandfather, I'm just like, okay, neat. So in terms of Rey, who needs, she's a new character. We have 2 more movies with her at least, so she needs this bigger dramatic arc. The Kenobi thing doesn't give her a lot of meat to chew on. It gives us, the audience, and it gives Obi-Wan lots more to play with, but it doesn't give Rey more to play with.
Right.
However, if you make her a Palpatine, we don't have to see Pretty Boy Sheev himself in 8 or 9. We didn't have to see his face at all. But if you just make that connection and say, Rey, your grandfather was the worst person who ever scarred the face of this galaxy and is responsible for trillions of deaths, then all of a sudden, not only is that interesting storytelling, but Rey has to deal with this. Rey is now on a journey, not just learning the Force, but learning, oh my God, this is who I am. This is where I come from. Can I distance myself from that? Can I, is blood thicker than water? Am I destined to take this mantle myself now? Is that what the First Order wants from me? Or can I follow my own path? She's being pulled by Luke. She's being pulled by Kylo. I think all this girl wants is some individuality. And when you have that looming over you, individuality is a very, very hard thing to come by. I've just been watching like a bunch of documentaries, and I was actually watching one this morning that happened to fit in with this, and it was funny because I'm watching it. I'm like, holy crap, I can talk about this on the show. I was watching one about the Merovingian kings and all that dynasty from like the early Middle Ages,
right.
And they sort of started the whole idea of my progeny, my eldest child, most of the time my eldest male child, is going to take the throne when I die. And if Rey was is currently the only heir of Palpatine, then there are a lot of people out there, a lot of fanatics, be they First Order or maybe Acolytes of the Beyond or somebody we haven't met yet,
right,
whose sole mission, zealously, in fact, is to find this girl who has this blood and put her back where they believe she belongs.
Right.
And that just opens up so many possibilities. So if there is any chance that she is a Palpatine, I will dive on that 100% because I can't see any other theory, as good as they all are, I can't see any other theory being as juicy as this one is.
Yeah, and you know what, you said a lot there that I think is really key. I think from a character perspective, you're absolutely right. Like having this thing where Rey is the lineage of the Emperor, this person that, look, the worst person ever, maybe, but a lot of people in the Empire actually look up to Palpatine, and they really, they like Palpatine. They're, it's kind of divided. I think Phasma, right? She has the armor that is made from his ships, from his shuttles and stuff. So she's obviously a fangirl for Palps, and it would be interesting to have her a part of it. But real quick, before we get into the evidence, James, hit me. What do you like this theory? Do you not like this theory? And why or why not?
I'm 50-50 on this theory. The first time I ever actually heard this theory was the guy to my, in the middle of the screen right now, Andrew. Andrew was the one that told me. We met at the mall. He was going over some scripts that he wrote with me. And he was like, I have an idea for Rey's parents. What if she is something related to Palpatine?
Right.
And I said, Andrew, you're drunk once again. And I packed up my bags and I walked away.
Yep.
I everything he says makes a lot of sense and it's fun and it's exciting. But I just don't know if it would. My issue with it is, like Andrew said, if it's Rey Kenobi, which I also don't really believe it, but if it's Rey Kenobi, the audience is more satisfied than if it's Rey Palpatine. So the character for Rey might be juicier, but the audience, if it's Rey Palpatine, might not feel the weight of that necessarily. The other problem that I have with it is who were Rey's parents, and why, where we're missing something in the middle there. What are we missing, and why is it okay to skip over that?
Yeah. I think those are fair points. There's a lot of holes in the theory. Like, okay, so I love Vincent Vendetta, and his theory videos are great, and we'll be referencing a little bit of that as well in this. But I mean, this is sort of a weaker one of his theories. Like if you watch that video, it's a little bit weak. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, man. It's possible, but there are some holes in that. So let's get into the meat of the theory itself. So a lot of this actually circles around her fighting style. Okay, so the fact that she uses the thrust, the fact that that's sort of Sheev's signature move. We don't really see anybody else use that. That's sort of the thing that people are pointing to. Most definitely that's like, pretty good evidence that she's a Palpatine. I find that a little there's also her obvious Force powers in general. I mean, she's incredibly strong. We think that lineage is very important to her and to her history. So obviously Palpatine has a very, obvious important lineage in Star Wars. There's the accent thing, which we went over last week, which, James loves this accent thing, but essentially she has a Coruscant accent, and this could have been from being raised by somebody from Coruscant, one of Palpatine's many, let's say, concubines or something like that, because, we know she was probably getting it in all over the galaxy. I mean, if you're the Emperor, why not, right? Let's see here. What's the voice? So in her visions, okay, both the Force back vision and in the trailers when they show parts of her, they have sound bites of Palpatine in the background, like Palpatine screaming in her Force vision a couple different times. He says something about the Jedi in her Force back. So there's that. We also know that Sheev is connected to Jakku, right? He was there many a times. He found little Gallius Rax, little Galley, as they called him back then, on Jakku, set up the observatory, and Jakku was important to Palpatine, so that's kind of interesting. This would possibly explain how people are aware of her. So, there's this thing that in the Vincent Vendetta theory that Luke leaves her on Jakku. And it's possible if he knew she was a Palpatine and knew all this stuff was going down, that he sort of puts her on Jakku. I don't know exactly about that, but it's a possible explanation. Then there's the princess comments, right? So there's these comments out there that Adam Driver made recently about her being a princess, right? And so if she is somehow related to Sheev, I could see this sort of being the thing where it's like, yeah, this is the princess thing that they're referring to. Yeah, so there's that, and yeah, that's pretty much, those are pretty much the points. There's one about her sort of being angry, and how you see her, like, give in to the dark side a little bit at the end of the movie where she's fighting over Kylo or whatever. But I want to kind of just open it up to discussion now that we've hit all the points. What do you guys think of some of these theories? Let's start with, like, the fighting style. What do you guys think about that?
Can I jump in with the fighting style quickly here? I'm only going to say one thing. In Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker does the exact same move to Darth Vader. Andrew, you go.
You mean the thrust? Like he thrusts?
He does the thrust. It's just a thing. People do the thrust. If you watch Return of the Jedi, he goes like this. He goes like that to Vader. So I would ex-nay the thrust move, because I think if you have a lightsaber and you haven't been training with it like they did in the prequel era, your first move is to thrust it and jab somebody with it. That's where I'm going to go. So I've seen Luke Skywalker do it. Man, now I think she's a Skywalker.
Right.
Sold.
Andrew, fighting style.
I think the fighting style thing is 100% dependent on who their stunt coordinator is and what he or she wants the actors to do. Granted, Star Wars is the kind of series where there is a lot of attention to detail, so maybe a stunt coordinator was filled in like, hey, just so you know, her parents are XYZ, and then he watched footage, whatever. But I doubt that was the case. I think it was just a matter of I know how to sword fight. I'm a stunt coordinator. Now, this guy's got about 1.5 feet on you, Daisy, so you're going to do these moves on him. And it just kind of became a more logistical thing there and easier to shoot. So yeah, that's fighting style. I think is it's not a conclusive strand to follow.
Yeah, it's sort of, and like I said, I kind of feel as though it's sort of a weaker a weaker point to bring up. You know what I mean? It's interesting. I get what people are saying, and there could be something to it, because I don't think that it's as random as people think. You know, with the coordination, they look at all the other films. Like, everybody who's working on that movie is so immersed in Star Wars while they're doing it that I'm sure that it's not by accident. Does it mean that they were modeling Sheev's fight? Maybe. Even if they were modeling Sheev's fight, does that mean that she's a Palpatine? Not really. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that. What do you guys think about her just being angry in general? Vincent brings up in his video that when she reads the mind of Kylo and realizes that he's afraid that he'll never be as strong as Darth Vader, that she's like sort of taking pleasure in that. What do you think about that?
It's the mind reading thing. So far, we've only seen dark side users use it. Like Kylo and Vader, I think, are the only people we've seen use it so far. So that's a little bit stronger. But I always assumed it was more of like a Rogue from X-Men situation. Like a power is being used on her, so she kind of finds a way to sort of grab it and throw it back. But I agree, there is a bit of delight in there that she's like, oh yeah, tough guy, like you're gonna come at me, bro? Well, huh? And she's not. There's no humility in there, but I think that's more just a case of her not having that Jedi training, that monastic sense of humility. She's just a normal girl. She's been raised to be tough. She's been raised to stand up for herself, and this is her doing that just on a more spiritual level.
Right. I mean, I kind of agree. James, what do you think about the anger? She's so angry, dude. You know what I mean?
100%. The first thing I noticed in the Force Awakens trailer was how angry she looked when she was firing, especially when she fires the blaster. You can see the anger in her face. At the end, she's filled with darkness. We know this is I think of all the arguments you could make, this is the most compelling one to me to say that. I mean, she could be related. She could be the offspring of anybody and still have hate in her. It's possible, but right. I mean, she's definitely full of hate. Snoke wants her for a reason. Kylo senses it. Everyone knows she's filled with hate. We see it in her expressions, and that, like you mentioned with the choreography, that's not by accident.
Correct.
When she fires that blaster, she's angry. She's aiming to kill. That's who she is. She is
right.
She's not a violent person. She's not a hateful person, but it's in there. It's in the back of her. And I think much like Anakin, she has, that fear of, like, we haven't really spoken about this though. She fears not going back to Jakku, right?
Yes. She
has this anger. Everything leads to everything. So there's something more to Rey, and if it's a Palpatine, fine, but she's definitely the most angriest and hateful of all the characters in there right now.
Yeah, very. It's interesting. She's certainly, that anger is very real. It's definitely a part of her character on purpose. I would agree with that. To me, look, I think a lot of Jedi get a pull to the dark side, perhaps. So I don't know. I don't know if you can read too far into it or not. I definitely think it's it's something to keep an eye on. Now, what do you guys think about Sheev being on Jakku? With the observatory there and his relationship with Gally and stuff. I mean, he had been to that planet before. So what do you think about that with regards to this theory?
I think that's the time he spent there may have been minimal, but it was important. And if we're going with the whole case of there was a son or daughter that he had, who then in turn had Rey, and somebody hid her there for some reason, I think it was another case of hiding in plain sight. Like, let's hide Luke from Vader on the planet Vader grew up on. I think right. It was a similar thing. Like, the observatory is no longer relevant. Jakku is no longer relevant. It's hiding in plain sight, but it's the perfect place to put this person, because anybody who has studied Palpatine would probably know of Jakku, but would probably also know that he abandoned Jakku. So it would be something that they would willingly cross off their list and be like, okay, if he has an error, it's not there. Let's keep looking. So it's the right kind of place to sneak somebody in right under the noses of whoever wants to find a Palpatine heir for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. What do you think about that, James? What do you think about Sheev's connection to Jakku?
Well, I actually have a question for both of you based on this. Are you guys satisfied with the conclusion that we've got to Jakku? Because remember, we were all promised there's something big on Jakku, something big on Jakku. Are either one of you satisfied with that ending that we got?
I'll just go ahead and say no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say it's a... Look, I believe that there's still something more to it. You know? Look, the Aftermath novels do a great job of explaining things, of sort of showing that there's way more to Jakku and all that. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot lost there, a lot that's confusing. Like, who's this Eremite? You know what I mean? Like, who's the Eremite? Who is the Church of the Force? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is the observatory? Why did they think they could change the planet into a big bomb? You know what I mean? Like, how does Sheev know about that? There's a lot that's confusing, but I don't know. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm rereading all the books right now, and once I get to Aftermath Empire's End, I want to look at it a second time, because I remember when I walked away from it initially, I was thinking it felt like they were setting up Gallius Rax and they were setting up Jakku for something bigger, and at the last second, Wendig had to change his plans, and instead what we got was sort of Plan B, and it didn't live up to what we were promised. It was very anticlimactic, and I feel like there was a point in there where somebody said, no, you can't do what you're planning because of this, so change it. And then so we just ended up getting like, oh, so I'm just Rax and I'm crazy and I'm going to blow up this planet because Palpatine played chess with me once.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
I really want to read that again and look at it and be like, did I miss something? Was I so excited that I stumbled over something important? But as it stands now, yeah, I'm not 100% satisfied with Jakku and Rax at all.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that either I missed something or we just don't have the full story yet.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that too. I want to just pause for a second just to tell all of the viewers on the stream, guys, thank you so much for showing up here. We're going to be giving away some sweet prizes. By the way, I've got these two little doll things here. We went with the Dark Side or the Empire this time. This is the BB9. Check that out. He talks, and then there's the Captain Phasma too, and she talks too, man. She talks too. So in just a second here, we're going to be doing our first trivia question. The first person to answer that trivia question correctly in the comment section will get one of these babies shipped out to them. And also, I'm giving away another Funko Pop. Where are you at, Funko Pop? Another Kylo Ren Funko Pop. And literally, all you have to do is share the stream to be entered to win. My main man Victor won last week. I'm shipping his out later today. But if you share the stream, even if you're watching this later, you are entered to win this here Funko Pop, this Kylo Funko Pop. It's so cool. So make sure you do that. And even if you're watching this on YouTube, go over to the Facebook and share the post, because you'll be entered to win still. And I don't pull those until the beginning of the next week. But getting back into the theory, James, before we went into the whole thing about Jakku. We're talking about Palpatine and how he knows about Jakku and what that could mean in reference to him being related to Rey. So do you want to go into that a little bit? What do you think about that?
Well, what I was saying about the Jakku thing is I don't think anybody was satisfied with what we got out of Jakku.
No.
We were promised something big on Jakku, the Aftermath books. I don't know if they specifically said you are going to get the answers to Jakku in the Aftermath books, but I know we all assume that, and we were reading it, you figure that's where it's going. So we were promised something big on Jakku. We got the Aftermath, whatever version of Jakku that we got. But we know that Jakku's coming back. We don't, not in 8, but in 9. We know Jakku is coming back in 9. Why is Jakku coming back in 9? And if the answer has to do with Rey, then you could trace that back to Palpatine. And then that is your conclusion. You can see all this crap that we read in the books actually makes a huge difference to what we're going to get.
Yeah.
Then I'd be okay. Then that makes complete sense to me. And also we've all forgotten about Jakku. Not forgotten, but no one's talking about Jakku anymore. 2 years ago at this time on Battlefront, the DLC that we're going to get in like 2 weeks is the Jakku. We're all like, we're going to play Battle of Jakku. Can't wait for the Battle of Jakku. Blah blah blah. This Battlefront 2, the campaign mode. I believe I haven't got that far yet because I'm a terrible gamer. Yep. You play the Battle of Jakku from the Inferno Squad point of view, or someone's point of view.
I can't wait to play it. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, but I can't wait to play that.
But so there's also a rumor that there are people in that game that are Rey's parents as well. Okay. And one of them does have a Coruscant accent and is from Coruscant. So I will say. The other thing, can I point this out with the accent is Iden Versio in Battlefront 2 is the daughter of Admiral Versio, who has a Coruscant accent, and Iden Versio does not. So accents,
dude, accents.
What are you gonna do?
Everything. All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's break for a second and let's do a trivia question. So if you're one of the people watching this stream right now, thank you very much. You are now about to get a chance to win this here Captain Phasma plushie thing. So let me just double check my show notes because I forgot the question. Okay, here it is. The trivia question for the Captain Phasma is, what is the name of the Sith home world? And I want the most current version of it, which is referenced in the Clone Wars. Once again, what is the name of the Sith home world? And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and type that question out just so people can know. Do you guys know
that is, you know what, that's I know Andrew, obviously Andrew whatever, but that's like kind of a difficult one, I think, for like non-hardcore fans. That's pretty difficult,
I think it is too.
It's a good one though. It's a good one.
Ooh, sort of. Vinny, you're super close, man. You're super close. It is not Korriban, but you're so close because actually they changed it. Oh man, everyone's answering.
Think of Clone Wars, guys. Think of Clone Wars.
Yeah,
that's the first time they said it.
So it is in the EU. It is Korriban. However, they changed it in the Clone Wars. Oh, Vinny nails it. Moraband. Vinny, you're gonna get so many of these toys, bro. Like I'm already shipped you out. Yeah.
Vinny literally just wrote down Oraban and changed the letter in front of it. Hey,
look, I gotta be honest. Look, you gotta give the guy props, though, man. He changed his answer super quick there.
Awesome.
It starts with an M. Yeah. So just to briefly explain that, so not everybody jumps down my throat. It is Korriban according to the EU and according to the Old Republic. However, the only time it's mentioned, to my knowledge, in actual canon is in the last few episodes of the Clone Wars, where Yoda refers to it as Moraband, as does Sheev Palpatine. So it's Moraband. So Vinny, you get the first little plushie there, my friend. And remember, guys, all you got to do is share the stream, and you're entered to win the Kylo Pop. So check that out. And we'll have more trivia questions coming in just a bit. So for everybody that's in the stream now, maybe you weren't here before, let me just go over some of the evidence for Rey Palpatine. I'm just going to go over all of it, and then, guys, we'll get into the problems with the theory, the reason it might not work out the way we want it to, okay? So, the number one reason that people think Rey is a Palpatine has to do with her fighting style. The fact that she thrusts and uses moves that Sheev Palpatine used in all of his fights from both the Clone Wars animated show and the prequel movies. Number two reason is because of her anger and the pleasure she takes from battle. There is also some mention in the Vincent Vendetta theory video where he talks about her mind reading of Kylo, realizing that he's afraid that he'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. She takes pleasure in that. There are a bunch of segments in The Force Awakens novelization that refer to her feeling the pull for the dark side and wanting to, well, basically kill Kylo. Number three reason is her dark side fighting at the end of the film, which I kind of just went over. She hears the voice that tells her to kill Kylo. I'm pretty sure that was Snoke. Some people believe it could be Sheev. We know that Sheev Palpatine had relations with the people on Jakku. Remember how Yoda was like, to Kashyyyk I will go. Good relations I have with the Wookiees. Well, that was Sheev, but he's like, good relationships I have with the scavengers. And so, there's something to be said for that. In all seriousness, if you read some of the ancillary materials, there's the observatory on Jakku. Palpatine had been to Jakku several different times, so it is possible that he was getting it in on Jakku. This theory also sort of explains how everybody would know about her, and it's possible that this could be the reason Luke leaves her on Jakku, if you believe that he did. There is also the point about the princess comments that were made by Adam Driver. He says you have this princess who's hiding who she is to survive. If she is indeed the princess, that empress of the old empire, man, a lot of people would want her head. It would put her in a really weird situation. Earlier in the stream, we all spoke to how cool this would be. The reason this theory is so fun is because it's different. It would really shake things up and make things weird for her. The last point I want to go into is the Palpatine's voice. In her Force back and in the trailers, they put Palpatine's scream into the scenes. So they're definitely putting some kind of a connection between her and Palpatine. Now let's get into the reasons why this might not work. Now we kind of talked about this already, but the fighting style argument is pretty weak. We can all kind of agree on that, correct?
Oh yeah. Has anyone ever considered the fact that maybe that's just how you fight with hate?
Yeah, it's totally possible. Look, I think almost all Star Wars characters get tempted to the dark side. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's a natural thing. You know, you have Kylo getting tempted by the light, which is awesome and unique. But even if she was a trained Jedi, you know, the way that she would fight like that and her, you know, the evilness of her, I think it's pretty normal. You know what I mean? I don't think it indicates anything.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The other problems here's an interesting one. Here's one I want to talk about. What do you guys think about the voices? Why are they putting Palpatine's voice into both her Force vision and into scenes of her in the trailers? Andrew, what do you think?
The voices, I feel like they might be a little bit more fan service than anything else. I mean, because we get so giddy when we dissect those trailers and isolate audio, and we're like, "Oh my God, that was Yoda!" It was a great moment in the Force back, and it's another great moment in the trailer to sort of pick these little snippets out. I don't think his voice necessitates a connection because I'm pretty sure Yoda's not her dad, but he's there. He's in all her. She hears his voices. So I think that's just more of a way to get us giddy, and B, let us know, almost on a meta kind of level, that, yeah, don't worry, this is all connected.
Yeah, that's interesting. James, what do you think? Why do you think they're putting Palpatine's voice all over?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Also, Palpatine is the embodiment of the dark, like he is the dark side. Vader comes back to the light at the end, so Palpatine is the dark side, Yoda, Obi-Wan are a light side. So if you have those two, you have him, you see her pull, you see her in the middle of trying to figure it all out, and then at the end of the movie, obviously, you know, I could teach her the ways of the Force, blah, blah, blah. She's full of hate. Then she has to meditate for a second. That's where I think that's coming from. I think it's just what Andrew said, and it's polar opposites, right? The light side and the dark side, and they reflect on each other. There's no other voice you can have for the dark side than Chief. Also, he's her grandfather.
Yeah. Also, he's definitely her grandfather. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Another thing that's interesting about the theory is the fact that she's so powerful. She's so strong in the Force. And look, there was a lot of changes going on between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. There's a lot of interesting things happening here. But one of the things is, in the original script and in the novel, Luke knows who she is. It's clearly in the script. You can see it. People found parts of it, and it's in the novelization. He I forget exactly the way it's worded, but he looks at her and is aware of who she is. And so, I mean, what do you guys think about her being so powerful and Luke sort of knowing who she is? Does that tie into this theory at all? Let's start with Andrew, because Andrew loves this theory.
Yeah, there's obviously there's always people popping up who are like, wow, they're really powerful. But it's few and far between when a person pops up and it turns all the Jedi's heads and they stop and they're like, whoa. We saw it with Anakin, and we saw it sometimes with Luke, and now we're seeing it with Rey. And I always just go back to the only real physical proof we have of this is just Luke's face at the end of The Force Awakens.
Right.
That's the face of a person who just saw the heir of the worst person in the galaxy and is like, oh my God, she's going to want me to train her. What the hell am I going to do?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'll try to reenact it. Hold on.
Here we go. Can't wait for this. Oh, yes. Nailed it. James, what do you think, brother? I mean, okay, her being super powerful, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. See, because Anakin was super powerful too. He got trained. She didn't get trained. But why would Palpatine make her super powerful if she has Palpatine? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Why?
Well, we're about to get to the third part of this where we talk about the Kenobi Palpatine bloodlines merging. Yeah. But in general, there is a kind of theory in the Star Wars fandom. It's not like a super popular one, but essentially it talks about how the reason the Jedi sort of forbid love and attachment is because they didn't actually want these super strong Force babies running around. So the idea is that you have these two children, or these children rather, that come from two people with very high midichlorian counts. You know, sorry, midichlorians still exist. So it could be a thing in that way. And I think that Sheev too. Like, one of the things that I think back to is the Lando comic, which is one of my favorite pieces of ancillary Star Wars material that's out there. But essentially, in that comic, Lando steals a yacht. Okay, it's a shuttle, but it's really a pleasure yacht from... actually, it might even be from Jakku. And he steals this thing, and he finds out that it is Palpatine's private yacht, and this thing looks like a total pleasure boat. It has Sith artifacts on it as well, but like the vibe I got from that yacht in there was like, dude, Sheev was going around doing his thing, like, you know what I mean, like getting the ladies to be involved. And yeah, I don't know, I see it as a possibility that he had some offspring, you know what I mean? So
But if he had an offspring with just anybody, why would they be like? It doesn't answer the question of why she's so powerful. You know what I mean? Like,
because Palpatine is absurdly powerful. I mean, you're talking about the guy that literally conquered the galaxy, and his Force abilities are no small part in that. I mean, like, you read Lords of the Sith, and you get this vibe that like Palpatine can read minds.
Yeah, no, I know he's super powerful, but this is now, third generation Palpatine. So how strong would Rey be? Have you guys considered that Laura Santeca, who was like the leader or a member of the Church of the Force, is on Jakku? Rey is on Jakku. Has it like that? Really, I think that is where I'm going right now. There's something in that area that's really piecing me together there, because maybe she wasn't even left on Jakku. Like, he's there for a reason. Like, because I was thinking about this the other day. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, that's cool.
Like in New Hope, 3PO and R2 jettison down, and they land on Tatooine, and and they run into Luke Skywalker, and it's a coincidence as far as we know in that moment. Mm-hmm. But in The Force Awakens, they try to do that, but it's not a coincidence because everything happens to be on that planet to begin. Like, no one accidentally goes to Jakku. Poe goes there on purpose to get a guy who lives on Jakku, and from what we know, has his own Church of the Force on Jakku, which is so close to where Rey is living. Mm-hmm. What is it like? Somewhere there, I think, is the correlation with Rey. She could. I'm not saying she's not Palpatine, Andrew. Don't get mad at me. Right? But do you know what I mean? Like, that is intriguing to me right now. Is that aspect of it? Because I just like, she's third generation Palpatine. So if her mother or father was the son or daughter, then they're super powerful. But then what if they married, like
just commoners or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, and then how powerful would Rey be? And this isn't to say that she can't be related to Palpatine. I just don't think the strength that she has is because of Palpatine.
Okay,
it's because of the Force, which she inevitably would have got from Palpatine.
Right.
But I don't think that's it. Look, she was born of a Force birth.
Hey, look, I'm actually a big fan of that theory, but I think they kind of squashed that. I believe that Lucasfilm kind of said that they weren't going to do that.
Oh,
And,
she's not a forced birth, but I think she's something special.
yeah. Interesting stuff. I love the theory. I think that it's possible. I think a lot that Palpatine had probably children out there. So in general, even if she doesn't happen to be a Palpatine, it would be really cool for Lucasfilm to do something with that, like the children of Palpatine. Like, for instance, there's this thing in Marvel Comics where Thanos goes around and sort of starts purging the galaxy of his own children because he doesn't want his offspring to have that kind of power and sort of overthrow him and stuff. And he kills all of them but one, who's really, really strong. And Thane ends up playing a big role in the goings-ons of the galaxy. So I don't know, man. What do you think about the princess comments? Okay, the princess comments by Adam Driver and people sort of knowing who she is. I mean, what do you think about that?
That takes me back to something. I'm going to spoil the ending of a 13-year-old book. So
No!
spoilers.
I'm just reading it now.
You're going to love it. There's churches in it. Spoilers for the end of the Da Vinci Code.
What?
Okay. Spoilers for the end of the Da Vinci Code. If you have not seen it, please mute your computer. The Da Vinci Code is, at the end of the day, we find out about a woman who discovers that she carries the bloodline of Jesus.
Right.
And a lot of people are looking for her for very different reasons. Some of those people are not pleased with the fact that there is a bloodline of Jesus and want to end it by ending her. Mm-hmm. That is a very scary but very realistic thing that could happen in our world, and I don't see any reason why it could not be translated to this. Royal blood is not just a beautiful queen having a beautiful princess. It's not just a pretty thing to have royal blood. It can sometimes be a horrifying thing. And in this case, I think that would be great drama and great world building to have this girl with this royal blood, but it's not the kind of royal blood where she's like a commoner and all of a sudden she finds out she has royal blood and she becomes a princess and everything's wonderful.
Right.
This is the kind of royal blood where people are out for her.
Oh, definitely.
Literally out for her blood. Some people might want to pluck her from this place and put her in power, but her being in power means these people want her to blow up planets again. These people want her to subjugate and enslave Wookiees and other races again. So this royal blood is much more of a curse than it is a blessing. And if we look at it like the dark side of the coin of the Da Vinci Code, then this gives us so much more to play with. It turns Lor Santeca into sort of like a Seneschal character where he is one of the few people in the galaxy who know this secret. He's the Jacques Sonnier, if you will, and
right.
He is protecting this secret because who knows how people are going to take it. And if there are, like you said, Josh, there are people out there, countless people who worship Palpatine.
Right.
And they can be very zealous and they can be very dangerous. And we've seen snippets of that already in the Aftermath books. So to keep this a secret, I believe, is absolutely the right choice. And, of course, I believe all the drama and all the tension is going to come from the secret coming out.
Right. I love it. I think that's so awesome, man. It would be so intriguing to have a bunch of people looking for, like, think about it. The First Order, there's probably people within there that are like, no, like, dude, this is the rightful ruler of the galaxy, and she's a Sith Lord, or she is strong with the Force, just like Palpatine. Let's get her on there. That would be amazing. Real quick, let's do another trivia question here, and then let's get into the Kenobi-Palpatine combination. So, the next trivia question, which will be for the BB9, which talks.
Oh my god, I want it!
Yes, it's
I'm getting on Facebook. I can win, right?
It's pretty adorable. Nope, you're not allowed. All right, so here we go. Question number 2. Who was Palpatine's master? Who was his Sith master? Answer that question in the comment section below. Let's see who gets it first.
The answer is Scott Baio.
Dude, Scott Baio, Avi.
Joni loves Chachi.
It's gonna take a second for them to catch up to the stream because it. lags a little bit behind. So.
Oh, I can finally look. I've been trying to comment on this all day, all morning. I haven't been able to comment.
Okay.
Now I can. So Rey was a love child. Oh.
Yep, there's some good comments down there actually. It's pretty cool. My computer's being really weird. I hope that this stream doesn't just die because
I still can't comment. So Rey, I can't comment. Rey, can't comment. Look, Rey's a Skywalker.
Ooh, James, you got it. That is correct. It is Darth Plagueis. And by the way, if you've not read James Luceno's novel about Darth Plagueis, it is amazing. Even though it's not canon anymore.
Did James Luceno win? Is that who got the...
Dude, that is James Luceno. Dude, no, James, you can't win of your own book. No, but yeah, well done, sir. James, hit me up, private message, either the Den of Nerds page or me on Facebook or Twitter or something, and let me get your contact details, and I'll ship that puppy out for you later today. Do you guys have some trivia questions? Do you want to do a trivia?
I've got a really easy one.
Okay, how about this? Let's do one for you. Do one, and I'll give this little sum away. It's like a little weird BB-8
I want
thing.
a sum.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but no, you don't get one. So ask your question though, and I'll ship this. We'll do a bonus trivia here because I feel like my stream might die.
This one's really easy. In A New Hope, where does Luke go to pick up power converters?
Ooh, I love that question. Love that question.
Home Depot.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Andrew.
where is the place that Luke will be going on Tatooine to go pick up his power converters? This is where he wastes all the time with his friends.
Yeah. Luke could be joining the rebellion or the Empire. Do you like my gun? Doesn't work.
Is that Boba Fett's gun? Is that why it's colored black?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's come from Tokyo Disneyland. Check it out. Tokyo Disneyland, yeah. I went to Tokyo and got it.
Dude, I want to go to Tokyo.
I didn't go. A friend of mine, he got you something there, Andrew, too. Josh, he gave you nothing because you wouldn't let me win the porg last week.
Yup.
But
I am actively looking for a porg for you, though.
I am, too, and I am out of luck. I have a porg pop, a porg Funko.
Oh, nice. How's that? Is it tiny or big? Is it like normal?
It's normal. I kind of want the chewy with the pork because then it's like a mini pork. But I'm doing the podcast with Brock tonight, so it'll be up tomorrow. We're going to talk about porks a bit because Daisy Ridley is a huge fan of porks.
Yeah, but Rey is not, right?
But of course not. I don't know. That's what all the articles say.
Ooh, Chris Hale, you nailed it, my friend. Tashi Station. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
You are going to get this little BB thing. I mean, this thing's kind of adorable. I picked a bunch. Look, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I go to Target every week and pick up a bunch of stuff for the stream. And I love buying Star Wars toys. I love buying this stuff. And it's cool. And I like giving it away. It's very fun. So I'm happy to do that. But let's get into the last part of the stream before we break it, guys. And we only got about 10 minutes here. But I want to talk about Rey possibly being a Kenobi and a Palpatine. And here, I want to pitch this story idea to you guys, okay? You ready? Let's go to story time. So, you have old Ben Kenobi sort of losing his way on Tatooine, watching over Luke, but frustrated, feeling isolated, feels like giving up, okay? And then this young lady comes to the planet seeking Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? She's strong with the Force. Kenobi can sense it right away, but he wants nothing to do with her. But much like Rey, she needs help. She wants to understand the power that she has, as she is a direct descendant from Sheev Palpatine. Despite Obi-Wan's best efforts to make her leave Tatooine and not train her, he ends up feeling sorry for her, and also due to his own loneliness, forms a relationship with her. They fall in love, have a child, and then she reveals herself to be evil, taking the child away and promising to raise the child within the dark side. This breaks Kenobi's heart. But he still has to stay on the planet because he has to watch over young Luke Skywalker. Bada boom, bada bing. That's the birth of Rey's mom. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has 4 grandparents. That's the way genealogy works. So it's very possible that Obi-Wan and some lady had a kid. Palpatine and some lady had a kid.
Yeah.
Those 2 kids met, ships passing in the night. Hey, you're cool. Hey, you're also cool. Let's sleep together. Rey.
Boom.
So I'm not against that at all, actually. I think that'd be really interesting. That'd be a cool way to... It's almost like Obi-Wan's blood is sort of cleaning out the Palpatine bloodline, if that makes sense. It's washing away the darkness. I think it's interesting, and I'd be down for that.
James, what do you think? First of all, you guys didn't sit there and clap for about 5 minutes straight, so I'm pissed because that story was amazing. But anyways, James, what did you think of the pitch?
Well, first, Andrew, I want to say something. That do you know who does not have 4 grandparents? Luke and Leia.
Anna can.
You're very right, James.
Both Anakin and Leia and Luke actually don't have.
Yeah, Anakin. Anakin has 2, maybe tops. So, I mean, Anakin doesn't even have whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that aside,
dude, touche. By the way, I didn't even think of that.
I could get behind that. In a way where you have to get Rey's mother, so Obi-Wan's daughter, and she vet Palpatine off of Tatooine without, in a way that is satisfying, because just up and leaving and then Kenobi being like, well, I got to stay and look after Luke. There's something missing in that. There has to be something more. Like, there has to be, like, a threat needs to be coming, and that's the point when Obi-Wan's like, you've got to go.
Well, what if Uncle
Obi-Wan.
Owen... Well, how about this? Not to interrupt, but what if Uncle Owen, like, you know what I mean? Like, what if something happens and Owen's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Who's this lady or whatever? And then... basically, like, she could reveal that she knows about Luke and she knows about all this stuff because her and Obi-Wan are close, and then Uncle Owen sort of freaks out and is like, this is happening all over again. You damn Jedi wizard people need to leave my family alone and stuff. And then, like, she's like, well, I better leave because I'm screwing this up for you.
With a kid, though?
Yeah, man.
I think...
Or she's pregnant and doesn't tell him.
Yeah, that, to me, is a more... That's something I could buy into a lot more if you go something like that. I had an idea and then I lost it because you brought up Uncle Owen, and all I thought of was Obi-Wan Kenobi and Uncle Owen sitting around the cantina having some non-droid juice together or something. Oh, man. I don't know. It's just such a hard... Like, it just seems like the most ultimate fan services. If you're like, she's a Kenobi and a Palpatine. Also, she has Skywalker blood and Quaternarios blood. And also, she's Watto.
Yeah, but here's my thing. I think the only way it makes sense, because like you said, it has to be like a planned thing. So my thinking is that Palpatine's daughter could literally be like that evil and twisted. Because remember, like, dude, Sheev knew so much about the Force. And he, practices magic. He knew Mother Talzin. I was just watching the Moraband episodes of Clone Wars last night, and him and Dooku doing that spell, going into the Nether Realm. Like, dude, where are the limits of this guy's power? So what if his favorite daughter, his favorite secret daughter, who could have, by the way, been on Jakku, so his secret favorite daughter has a plan to regain the power that her father had and sort of take over the galaxy, and she literally goes to Kenobi purposely because she wants to utilize his bloodline and also sort of like rub it into the Jedi, because like arguably Kenobi was the one who killed how many of Palpatine's apprentices did he kill?
But here's the problem though. The problem is, why wouldn't she tell Sheev? Like, You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't she tell Sheev, hey, there's a Jedi on Tatooine?
Well, because at this point,
something.
yeah, that's totally fair. I think this would have to be taking place much later. So, like, this would be sort of after he had died. So, it could be a thing where let's just say Sheev has the child, maybe 10 years before Endor. You know what I mean? Like, what if he has the child 10 years before Endor? That's where the birth happens. Then she's sort of raised, and as she's a young teenager, discovering all of this for herself, maybe even finding sentinel droids, that have his sort of information. Then she sort of starts piecing that together as we get towards the 30-year period, or the 19-year period, rather, where Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. And what if, as she's growing up, she's trying to find Obi-Wan? Because remember, nobody could find him. When Maul found him, it was a big freaking deal. You know what I mean? In Rebels. Like, he figures out where the old man is at, and it took holocrons combining to show him that.
That's what I mean. Like, so if she runs into him, I can't see why she wouldn't tell somebody. Unless, of course, then she goes back, she tells good old Sheev, and Sheev's like, good, keep him alive, and he will raise this, and he will be my new apprentice.
Well, it's very possible, right, exactly. It's possible that, Palpatine knew that was going on the whole time, and he was like, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen it. Because he goes to Endor knowing it's a shatter point. Like, there's so much, they need, as much as we, and Andrew, I'm with you, I love Palpatine, and I'm sorry that James and I are just rambling here, but, I love Palpatine, and we need more. We need to understand more, and that's another reason I'm looking forward to Battlefront 2. But hey, let's address the chat a little bit, because people have been very active and we've been rambling, so I want to address this. First, James says, do you think Rey is the daughter of Ezra and Sabine from Rebels? It's possible. We went over that last week in the Rey Kenobi episode. Go up on YouTube and check that out on the Den of Nerds YouTube channel. We kind of go into that. It's possible, but the timeline doesn't quite fit. Kat says, but the age seems a bit off. Wouldn't that make Rey a little bit older and wise, older than otherwise stated? Yeah, so part of the problem with all these theories is the timeline. However, I'll say what I said last week when we were going over the Kenobi theory. It's the simplest thing in the world to fix a timeline. All Disney and Lucasfilm has to say is, no, she was actually 24. Or, no, he was actually this. Like, they can retcon any time period they want. They have the ability to do that, but you're right, it is a little bit messy. James goes on to say, Obi-Wan can't have kids. He would have never broken the code. Well, when he was on Tatooine, brother, the Jedi were done. There was no code. In fact, if you read the Star Wars comic book, that's one of the things that Obi-Wan is struggling with. He literally says in the comic book, being a Jedi was hard. Not being a Jedi was even harder. He's not a Jedi. The code's over. Arno says, so everyone says Rey's Palpatine, Rey Kenobi, Rey Skywalker. Nope, it's Iden and Del's daughter. Let's briefly go over that. What do you guys think of that? Do you guys know who Iden and Del are?
I do.
I know
I'm
who
in
Iden
the middle
is.
of the game.
Yeah, I haven't played the game, so I don't want to really know anything until I do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what I can say without giving out spoilers. The very, very, very minor. Like I said, I'm only probably halfway through the game tops because I'm slow and terrible at it. And I'm playing on super easy. But Del works. She's side by side with Iden in this game. There are other characters, and if you've read Inferno Squad, the book, you would know them. So Del and Iden work side by side, and Del, I will say this, in the Luke Skywalker portion of the game, the hero portion of the game, where you are Luke Skywalker, as much as it's about Luke Skywalker, it's more about Del, is what I can't really say more than that. I don't think, without ruining the game for because it just, I mean, the game hasn't even come out for some people, so I don't want to. You can read it all online if you want. But the Luke Skywalker level, as much as it's about Luke, and you get to see R2, and I giggled. It's really about Del. It's more about Del.
Interesting. That's very, very cool. So, I mean, that's possible. It's possible her parents are nobody of significance, although Pablo Hidalgo did sort of say on Twitter that lineage is important to her. So I want Andrew just to go in again. We did this a little bit earlier in the podcast, but one more time, just for everybody that is watching the stream right now, why would it be so compelling in your mind, Andrew, for her to be a Palpatine? Because I totally agree with the points you were making.
At the end of the day, you are looking at a character arc that is it dwarfs everything we've seen so far in Star Wars. It is something that will shake up Rey, and at the end of the day, that's what a good story does to its main character. Is it shakes them up. Her being Kenobi, her being other things, whatever, is all well and good for us as fans, because we get to hear the word Obi-Wan again, we get to hear such and whatever and read crossovers, but it's not good for Rey. If Rey finds out in this movie, I'm a Kenobi, cool, now what? I'm going to go fry some porg. It's not going to affect her in that way. A Rey Palpatine story is going to crush this poor girl. It is going to flip her whole world upside down. It is going to justify all these people coming at her from different angles, wanting to use her for nefarious reasons or otherwise. It unwraps a whole literal galaxy of possibilities, while at the end of the day still servicing her as a character and giving her dramatic arc and pain and suffering and trials that every good hero needs.
Yeah, man. And as I said previously, I love that idea. Like her having to come to grips with that. Like, can you imagine being the actual heir to the Empire? You know what I mean? And you are literally the heir to what a lot of people consider to be really good. Like in Star Wars politics, there's a lot to be said for the fact that although there was a lot of evil perpetuated by the Empire, there was at least order and there was peace. Some people were big fans of the Empire, right? So there's a whole group of people that might, look to her, and she has the ability to even perhaps bring both of these worlds together, the Rebels and the Empire, and say, we're going to reforge this whole thing. Yes, my grandfather was terrible. There's something to the Imperial Order, so we're going to do it better. Because remember, the Republic just became the Empire. It sort of morphed into the Empire. So the Republic itself, everybody considered to be a really good thing, even though it was majorly flawed. So is it possible that she could sort of reset the Republic using the authority she has as the heir to the Empire to bring the Imperial sympathizers to the table? James, what do you think about that?
Turn on my mic. I like it. I do think it's very compelling. I don't think it's the most compelling outcome we can get. If we have it, I'll be fine. I'm going to be fine with whatever they throw at us. I really don't care at this point. I just want to watch. I just want to watch.
I know. I just want to know so badly.
Like seriously, I've stopped caring. Hooray! Who are we talking about? No, but it's good. I like what you said. How she could be the one to bring it all together because she's the proper heir, and some people would really respect that. But then the other people would really frown upon that. It's a nice theory. I have this feeling though that it's just going to be a theory, and we shouldn't get hung up on it. Yeah. Or Kenobi, or Skywalker, or Force Birth, or Iden and Del. I think, family is very, very important to her, but that doesn't mean it's anyone we know.
True. That's true. It could be someone else that has a lineage. And the princess thing could be interesting. What if she's a princess of some other predominant planet, Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem with her being any of these. Like I said, like the Palpatine one's very, very intriguing. And I'm cautioning everybody who's watching. Not that everybody cares about what I say, but I'm cautioning everybody. I would not go into this movie, she's Palpatine. Because if she's not, then you might feel slighted in a way, and your opinion of the movie might drop.
Sure.
I would just go in, she is Rey, and she's meeting Luke, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the way
and we're going to get some of the answers here. We'll have even more questions. But that's going to do it for this live stream. Like I said, guys, all you got to do is share this live stream, and you got a chance to win the Kylo Ren Funko Pop. So even if you're watching this on the replay, or if you're watching this on YouTube, go back over to the Facebook stream and share it out, and you'll get entered to win the Funko Pop. We gave a bunch of toys away for trivia questions. Thank you to everyone who participated with it. It's so awesome. Guys, next week, because we're doing these Last Jedi live streams every Thursday as we head towards The Last Jedi. The last one will be on the day The Last Jedi comes out. Man, I'm so excited for this movie. I can't wait. It's so awesome. But next week, guys, we are going over the redemption of Kylo Ren. Is it possible? Will he be redeemed? Should he be redeemed? Will it ruin Star Wars? Is this Kathy Kennedy's fault? All these questions and more will be explored next week, where we go over the redemption of Kylo Ren. That's going to be a lot of fun. I've been super back and forth on this, but I'm excited to that. I want to thank my guests, Andrew Fantasia and James Razile from the Rebel Scum Podcast. Go over to the Rebel Scum Podcast YouTube channel. I collaborate with these guys. They do stuff with us. If you love getting Star Wars content, these guys are great. They love Star Wars, live and breathe. I feel like I'm hanging out with these guys every time I watch their videos. It's hilarious. And Brock is hilarious too. So we got to get Brock on one of these.
He works too much.
Yeah, he works too much. He actually goes out and makes the bread, the money, and we all sit at home and play or whatever. But Andrew, tell the people where they can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook, Andrew Fantasia, and on Twitter sometimes at Andrew Fantasia.
Yeah, I'm equally as bad at Twitter, but I'm trying to get better at it. But yeah, no, I can respect that. James, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Petzafina. That's PEZZ FINA. That's Z for America, Z for Canada. And you can also find me on Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 4 at Petzafina, PEZZ FINA, PEZZ FINA. A few people have added me, and so you can kick my butt at Battlefront if you want like your credits to go up to unlock characters quicker. Just play me, and honestly, skyrocket.
I wish I had a PS4. I wish James had an Xbox that I could whoop on him, man. That'd be so fun.
You would not have fun because I'm so bad. You'd be like, this is getting boring.
I'd have fun for a little bit. I'd definitely have fun for at least a little bit.
No, I would make sure we're on the same team. I only play on the same team with people because I'm so bad. I like to hide behind them, and then I'll get my one kill, and I'm like, yeah!
Nice. I'm looking forward to getting that game later today and watching it. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. We've had a really healthy amount of people watching the stream. Super awesome. Thank you guys so much. If you found it awesome, maybe like the Facebook page so you can get notification when we go live next week. We also do random live streams. Like I'm going to do a live stream with James that I didn't even tell him about yet, where we talk about Justice League. That'll probably be early next week. But yeah, all kinds of content for the Den of Nerds. Check out our Facebook, check out thedenofnerds.com, and check out the Den of Nerds YouTube channel, where we drop all sorts of videos. I got a pretty sweet Snoke theory that's making waves on the interwebs, so check that out. Once again, thank you to my guests. These guys are awesome, and may the Force be with all of you. Bye-bye.